day, it seems like everybody has a MySpace or Facebook, is in constant contact with their friends by way of text messaging, or blogs their brains out every day after school. People who mystified their parents with slang like groovy and radical now puzzle over their children saying things like, OMGZ, I'm a pwn noobs on WoW. And by the way, if you don't know what WoW is, don't worry about it. So what happened to the good old days, when drum went down on the park and on the streets and not on MySpace? When kids got together with their friends to build skateboards and tree houses, and not wearing their thumbs out on their DSs. Conor Grogan, Celeste Maloney Wilding, and Cora Setzer share their thoughts.
Today, we find ourselves surrounded by technology of all types. We look around and we see MP3 players, cell phones, the most advanced computers, and most importantly, we have the best communication technology available. Communication now is instantaneous. For some of us, this has been a gradual process. Others among us were born into the technology of today. Growing up with this sort of technology has allowed us to become much more familiar with it than most of the people who have watched it progress to the point it's at today. With all this technology at our fingertips, we're given certain options our predecessors were not. Many of us choose to make use of these options. One of these options that we've been given is the choice of online community building through virtually instantaneous communication. I find that many people don't understand our generation's fascination with online community building. They may look at us and say, why don't you go outside, get some sun, enjoy nature, play with your friends? What they don't understand is that we are playing with our friends. Obviously, the value of physical human interaction is not to be overlooked, but on the same token, I propose that it should also not be overrated. While actual human interaction does have its benefits and should never be done away with, online interaction has its benefits too. It should not be ignored that we can communicate in a way that we were never able to before. While we may not be hanging out with the kids down the street as much, we are able to talk to kids halfway across the world, creating an infinitely expanding web of online interaction with other kids across the globe. Online community building has allowed us to better understand the children of other nations by actually interacting with them, rather than just learning what they're like by reading about that country or this country in a book. We don't have to believe what we're told about a certain people from someone else. We can learn about them from having friendships with them. The connections that we make with people through the internet are just as real as ones made with kids at school. They should not be devalued. The internet allows us ways of communication that will not only help to build friendships, but also to maintain them. For example, I've made a number of friends here in San Diego that were it not for sites such as MySpace and Facebook, I would probably lose. It is because of online community building that I was able to keep in touch with those people back in Maine, and it is for the same reason that I will not lose the friendships I've made here when I go home. The connections that I've made in San Diego will not wither away for lack of communication. They will stay strong, and I'll be able to maintain these friendships into adulthood when I'll be able to come back and visit my friends here. Instantaneous communication, however, not only gives us a way to build lasting friendships, it can be used for other purposes as well. For example, it allows us to be enlightened to world issues much more easily than generations previous. If we so choose, there are places that we can go online that allow us to interact with other politically and socially conscious kids our age, thus allowing us the option to become the most politically informed teenagers of any generation. I would only ask of you not to immediately devalue the connections that we make on the internet. Pause and consider them for a moment. Think that perhaps they are worth something. Maybe those connections that your children are making when they spend a couple hours on the computer are worth something. They might not be wasting their brain on mindless internet drivel. They might be making friendships that will last them their entire life. They might be discussing with other kids things such as American imperialism and its ramifications in the world of today. They may be discussing the rising oil prices and what we can do about it. They just might be doing something important on that computer of theirs.
a star, and pain was the price you paid. Even when you died, the press still hounded you. All the papers had to say was that Marilyn was found in the nude. And it seems to me you lived your life like a candle in the wind, never knowing who to cling to when the rain set in. And I would have liked to know you, but I was just a kid. Your candle burned out long before your legend ever did. Goodbye, Norma Jean. Though I never knew you at all, you had the grace to hold yourself while those around you crawled. Goodbye, Norma Jean, from the young man in the 22nd row who sees you as something more than sexual, more than just Marilyn Monroe. It seems to me you lived your life like a candle in the wind, never knowing who to cling to when the rain set in. And I would have liked to know you, but I was just a kid. Your candle burned out long before your legend